forward to the drink this month, I have to say.
Yeah, so we're going to be making a black velvet, which is very simple. Very, very simple. It's just 2 ingredients. We have a double cream stout and then a Prosecco. So all you're going to do is just split it pretty much between the glasses.
That is thick. Yeah, it is.
Okay, so now that we have our beer in, we're just going to top it off with our Prosecco. And the recipe calls for it to be poured over, but honestly, if you pour slow enough, it should kind of happen. And as simple as that, there are our black velvet drinks.
Wow. Yay!
Like the mix of the beer
smells
stout
really good.
smell.
Why, thank you.
All right, let's check out this month's kit. As you can see, we've included the recipe for the black velvet cocktail that Kelsey has just made for us. The accessories include a magnet and bookmark inspired by Maitha's interest in romance comics. You'll also find the supplies to make a matchbox camera with photo prompts. Finally, we've included a link to a supplemental book club kit compiled by the author and publisher. It includes a Spotify music playlist, contextual information about the time period, discussion questions, and even another cocktail recommendation. We highly recommend checking it out if you're looking to enrich your reading experience even further. Well, I think that's everything. We hope you enjoy your kit.
Yeah, so I guess we can move on to the book.
I loved it because, okay, noir is usually like super dark, right? Like
Yeah.
very shadows but I don't know, I felt like there was such a brightness too. Like I felt vibrant, like Mexico City being so like alive, and there was so much happening and so much unrest, and I don't know, the characters were very vivid. So I didn't feel that darkness. I mean, it's a very dark story and gritty, but I don't know, the characters in themselves were very.
I felt the contrast between the noir, sort of the kind of the darkness in the characters and the darkness of the plot line, really was an interesting combination with the idea of like the romance kind of comic art. That's what lifted it for me, I think. Her little like stories that she gets swept up in.
It was super unique to pull in this part of history that I don't know anything about, set with rock and roll. That was also part of this like dark history.
Yeah.
And with the comics, which again is something I didn't even realize was a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so well done. She's a great writer.
Yeah. Well, what did you think of the main characters? They aren't exactly your typical. I mean, again, this is noir.
I didn't like them at the beginning, but I grew to at least respect the characters a little bit at the end, and like I'm invested in them a bit, so I think that's like even a good character arc.
I think they really grew too.
I think I saw more growth with Elvis than I did.
Yeah, I agree. She wrote her main character doesn't like cats.
I thought that was funny.
I did too, but still I was like,
so
oh,
funny.
Every time I feel a little bit more like for her, and then she's like, damn cat. And I'm like, oh. Poor cat.
Yeah.
I felt really bad for her though.
Yeah.
Like, oh, mother and sister.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Can't even imagine having to deal with that all the time. They're just rough.
Yeah. But I was thinking about her. I feel like, given all of the crap that was going on, she just found a way to escape reality. I feel like that probably was reflective of maybe not a majority of people, but what else are you supposed to do? Not everyone's going to stand up and protest.
Yeah.
So you might as well dive into some romance comic books and get swept up.
Like, not to bring it too current eventy, but nowadays, like the past few years, it's very much escapism. And we're also tired of everything that we just escape how we can, and she just was escaping everything. Not simply because of the political landscape or because of a certain reason like we have with COVID, but she just needed that escape and was more than happy to dive into it.
I wonder if in part that's why she was stealing too. I mean, I think she wanted to, she was sort of seeking connection too.
Yeah.
I think it was also more of escapism.
Definitely.
She got a thrill from it.
I hate to say whether she's likable or not. I think it's relatable.
Yeah.
Or I can understand in part why she would act and think the way that she does. And I just found, I don't know, just like the depth of these characters and what the author did. It was just a really interesting look into that. So I found it very.
I think it's a real achievement that she wrote a character-driven novel with characters that are very flawed and maybe not the most likable. You know, I mean, if we think about noir, what are the noir archetypes? Yeah, is she a femme fatale?
No.
You know what I mean, though? Like,
Yeah.
So she's not sexy. She's not alluring. She doesn't have like a mysterious quality about her. I mean, the closest we ever get to any kind of intriguing description from another character's point of view is from Elvis at the end when he talks about like her, you know, her sad eyes, her tragic eyes. But to everyone else, she's kind of plain and whatever,
Yeah.
very unassuming. And she thinks that about herself.
Well, I was gonna, how much is that like? She's sort of projecting that onto other people, maybe, or
I
because
wondered
she
about that,
is
yeah.
so like obsessed with her flaws,
Mm.
and I think she just automatically kind of shrinks and tries to stay out of sight.
Mm-hmm.
She automatically thinks that that's what others see.
Yeah, and so therefore they do because
That's what she shows.
yeah,
I do feel like even with all of the, to put it politely, flaws that Omago had, like there was structure, something Elvis never had previously.
I mean, yeah. Keep your
Like,
routine.
the word of the day, the working out, like, because when Elvis was starting to like follow people, he was like, "Have you picked a word of the day?" No, and it was like a big deal that he hadn't, because it bothered him all
Yeah.
day long that he was off of his schedule. If I had to pick something to give Omago credit for, I guess it would be that. But I don't want to give him anything, so.
yeah, he had some issues.
Mm.
He loved his family. Sorry. Oh.
But no, Elvis was endearing.
Oh, Kelsey. We were talking before about Leonora, so I'm curious
Leonora.
how people feel about her. She's very prominent in the story, but we don't really, see her.
I have no love. for
And
her.
yet,
I have none. I don't think she's a good person. I mean, I know she was trying to help with the rebellion, and researching that part of history, which I also don't know anything about, it's like, I think the rebellion was a good thing, but she was the femme fatale, if you had to classify. I did not like her at all.
I was wondering if that had changed, like after finishing the novel. So that's fair.
But I think I'm also seeing her also through Maite's perspective as well.
That's
Yeah.
something to consider too.
Yeah.
Because
So
that's
I
a
feel like
flaw.
it's a little bit biased
Yeah.
because you're looking at it through Maite's perspectives.
I don't know. I had mixed feelings until the end.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I didn't really feel too strongly one way or the other until the end in my capital.
No.
And I sort of blame him.
Well, yeah.
Well,
there's also that.
Yeah. She didn't know what had happened. Leonora didn't know what had happened.
I don't know what you thought about this because you didn't listen to it, but
Mhm.
the way that the audiobook did her voice was very like flighty. The way she voiced her definitely made me feel right off the bat a certain way.
That's interesting.
I also feel like there was a little bit of, I mean, I know you don't get a lot of physical speaking from the mother or sister, but I feel like she did the voices kind of in the same way.
Yeah, I agree.
So there's like echoes of that in Leonora's character.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, it's like looking at it through Maite's eyes.
Yeah.
What did you think of like the whole parallel worlds situation or multiple narrators seeing things through Elvis's and Kelsey's eyes?
I love that sort of writing, especially with how close they put the characters. Like it was like sliver pass-bys the
Yeah.
entire time, and I loved it.
Yeah.
You keep thinking they're gonna intersect,
Like
and then
the moment, and they do a couple. Like you don't realize until later that once you get to the other person's chapter that oh yeah, that was amazing. Like in the diner when he went up and played on the jukebox and like looked at her like there was a private joke and it's like where's this?
right.
But they're so involved. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
That splicing.
She had a lot going on. I was really impressed.
And it never got too overwhelming. Maybe a little bit at the beginning, just because I don't know anything about like what had happened, and it took a minute to get oriented. That is maybe one complaint that I do have about this book, is that I felt like the pacing was a little bit slow. Yeah.
That's fair.
I just felt like maybe some parts of it could have been removed just to make it a little bit quicker, because it was so character driven.
There really wasn't much action.
No.
Well, how much time passed in the entire book? Do we even know? It feels like it was just like 2 weeks. Because of the pacing, it felt so much longer.
Yeah.
Right.
Months.
I think you're probably right. She wouldn't have kept her cat for more than a month max, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, time was running out on that, sadly. Okay, so there's a big reveal at the end. Were you surprised? Did you see it coming?
Because I was not expecting. I thought that they would be at least like closely working together, but I did not think that they were the same person.
I was surprised. Yeah, I didn't see it coming.
Okay.
Did you?
I did, and I kept thinking, no way, like, 'cause I never guess. I'm
Yeah.
terrible. I'm always shocked at the end. But I felt like there were all these hints.
There were a lot. I mean, when you go
Yeah.
back and think about, yes, there definitely.
Yeah. So maybe like halfway through the book, I started theorizing. I'm like, okay, there's maybe, but I'm never right, so this can't be what's happening. Yeah. So I wasn't really surprised, I have to say. One thing I was upset about is that we never found out what was on the photos.
Yeah, I was upset about that.
I'm super
Just
glad.
a
trying
minor
to find
detail.
out. I was like, what was on the photos?
Did I miss something?
Yeah, I know, that was a
Yeah,
bummer.
so that was disappointing.
What if it was the confirmation of the identity of the person who did this? Or I don't know.
Probably.
I feel like it's nice a little bit. Like it's super frustrating, but it's also a little nice. It's very because of the open-endedness of it,
Yeah.
and it could be anything, and you can just imagine.
What do you think is going to happen with, so it was very open-ended, but
Yeah.
what do you think is going to happen now that Elvis and my dad finally met, and they both know that they've met?
Someone was saying online that she actually died from her injuries that inflicted upon her. And so the rest of the end was just her living out the ending because she had to finish it like her comic books.
I'm sorry.
That's why she
No.
like gets the guy in the end.
No. Stop it! No.
Okay. So here's the thing. I can like believe it on the level of Silvia Moreno-Garcia's writing, because she would be the person to do that. She would, if any author out there would be the person to do that, it would be her.
I knew this was gonna make her mad.
No.
I know.
Sad.
When I read it, I was like, no, this is what, and then I saw that theory and I was like,
It kind of makes sense to me.
It does not.
Because of the comic book component.
Also, like, and think about how obsessed she was with the fact that, like, the doctor in the comics,
Oh.
What was his name?
It was like Lewis or something.
yeah, she was, like, obsessed with the fact that he was in this coma.
Oh.
So it was, like, a foreshadowing she was, like, she either died or she's in a coma. And so her brain is, like, meeting Leonora again. And Ruben breaks up with her, but she ends up with, like, the sexy stranger, the ruffian.
She doesn't know anything about him. She couldn't
She
imagine
made
that.
it up.
She had no frame of no.
Oh, Jorge Luis?
That's it.
Yeah. I can believe it.
Oh my god.
I can believe it just from the writing. and
Kelsey.
I can believe it. Okay,
Upset.
I can see it as a theory.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you can see anything.
Like as a
Her hair was also green.
I can see it as believable. I can see it as something that the open-endedness of the ending could give way to. As an intention by the author. I feel like it was intentional.
I want to see something.
I mean, okay, also, the more I think about it, the more I was like, oh my god, is this really a thing? But, like, she always wanted to be the star of her story, and she would make up things. So it would totally make sense for her to dream that she had gone to work, and everybody's like, oh, you poor thing, are you okay? And she got into this accident with my boyfriend, you know, and so it makes complete sense with her character as to, like, why she would do that. That she's making herself the main character in the story. And
Are you looking for evidence to prove this wrong?
Yes. Well, because I thought we heard from Elvis one more time after that happened. So she couldn't have known his perspective. That wouldn't be there.
okay, I like that. I like that.
Well, the interaction of
This is
them
gonna go online and refute this person's theory.
I am.
The interaction of them on the bus is through my taste.
It is.
So
But-
And the end reads very much like a comic
But
book.
she wouldn't have known he was a hawk. No, the whole comic thing was like, she was trapped in this fake romance
That's
story,
true.
but she like got bumped into this noir.
Ooh.
Like that's how I saw it.
it would be
Matt.
fitting for how she
No.
led her life if that was the way her ending was.
It would
portrayed.
be so
But what
tragic.
about Elvis?
It would be super tragic.
That's, what does that mean for Elvis? That makes no sense. She can't die because they've been living in this sort of parallel universe. Like, that's all for naught. She does.
He gets together
He
with
can't.
Leonora. Because everybody else has.
He's not interested. He finds her much more interesting.
He does.
Kinda, he says. We hope you enjoy the book.